Hello and welcome to the Danville Board of Education regular meeting for Monday, September 17th, 2018. Our first item on the agenda, we need to actually amend the agenda.
I make a motion to amend the agenda to add the Superintendent Performance Growth Plan 6.K as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, that motion passes. And, where is it? Later. No, it's later. And now we will go ahead and amend the amended meeting agenda.
I make a motion for the approval of the amended meeting agenda.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we'll start off if there are any board member comments this evening.
I just wanted to say, I just found out who did the video, and it's Miss Christy Denny. I want to say thank you for that video. I don't know if you've all gotten a chance to look at the video that was posted on the district website about the demolition of hogs. I think it was on, or maybe it was on, I don't know whose, but it was on our Facebook.
I'm not sure I need rights for that.
But it was really cute. It was about a 4 or 5 minute video showing the progression and what's happened in the building. And it was really great. I mean, the kids are going to love it. I hope big kids and little kids get to see it. But she shows things like how does the wall go down? And then there's somebody like on the other side with a sledgehammer. And you got to meet our architect and the teams. And I think it's really cute. So I really hope everybody gets to go and have a look at it. And it looks like a lot of work's being done. So.
There definitely is.
All right. Anybody else?
I'd like to comment. There's going to be a wonderful production at Bait. Actually, it will be here. The play's called Yet Easton. And I have a role, a part in it, so I just hope I can remember the lines. I have a hard time remembering where my house is. But there's about 25 kids involved, several adults, parents, and I got lucky enough to say yes. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to read an excerpt from Pista talking about his brother who died in the concentration camp along with his mother and a baby brother and his father. Yea, there's no one like him. I miss him calling me brat and little runt. He was 3 years older than me. That means he would be 17 now. He was loving and protective of me, and I wanted to be just like him. He was brilliant. He planned to be a doctor. He was handsome as a movie star. Blonde and blue-eyed. He was the best soccer player at school. So here was a young boy, 12 years old, entered this concentration camp from Budapest, and he survived. So the boy wrote a diary of his life while he was there at the concentration camp. And then when he was rescued, he lost it. And he was very unhappy. So what he was able to do was he was able to put it back together. And then 68 years later, a play was created. And Babe will be the third performance in the world to have this play. So through partnerships and money that's been donated and so forth, it's going to be a wonderful production, and we're looking forward to it. And it will be here in Gravely Hall. So anyways, it's exciting.
Anybody else? All right, at this time we'll move on to the superintendent comments.
Thank you. Just want to congratulate all of our principals. We've had a really great start to the school year. Also, one of the things I think I mentioned earlier to several of the board members is that we are reviewing our current safety plan. And we have made several walkthroughs of the building and have found things in good shape, doors locked, things the way that we would expect and what we would want to see for the safety of our students and teachers. And so I've been very impressed with not only the start of the school year instructionally, but also just other procedures and processes in place. So we've had some really nice walkthroughs and seen some great things going on in our buildings. One other thing that I want to announce is that after a very long search for an assistant superintendent, we have posted that position 4 times. I have interviewed many individuals for the job. Today, we hired Sherry Satterley, our principal at Bay Middle School, to be Danville's new assistant superintendent. Very excited about the work ahead in the next chapter for our school with Sherry's leadership at the central office. I think it's going to be some amazing work. Also want to reassure the board members, parents, teachers, and our students that Bay will continue to be a priority for Sherry and myself moving forward. She will stay in the building for longer than if she was giving a normal resignation, to make sure that we have a smooth transition as we move forward with a search for a new principal.
Fantastic.
Yes. Very nice. All right, thank you, Dr. Shelton. The next item on the agenda is the personnel notifications. Are there just for information purposes. If you need or have any questions, please let Dr. Shelton know. Moving on, the next item on the agenda are the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the August 20th, 18 meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, we'll move on to the report section of our agenda. The first one is branding.
So you have, if you can pull up, you will see a couple of different things. So there is, we re-met with the branding committee. So 2 things that we want to talk about. So the branding committee, I know, worked across the spring, this past spring, and really looking at new branding, and they brought before the board in the spring the new logo with the anchor, one for each school. There had been some feedback, just kind of anecdotal feedback from different community members, teachers, parents, students, and so just based on some of that feedback, the branding committee reconvened and discussed the logo again now that it's kind of out there in the public and there had been some feedback. And so one of the things that the committee decided to do was to just do a Google survey to see what everybody's thoughts were now that that new logo was out there. So you can see the results of the survey. So it was on Google, and so there were some non-Google users. And so the top is about 70 different individuals responded that were non-Google users, and you can see those results. And then right underneath that, we had 296 responses on the Google app. They were asked 3 specific questions. One was their thoughts about the squared anchor in the logo. The second question was about, do they like the 4 stars around the anchor that represents the schools? And then the third question was the way Danville with the schools specifically were listed underneath the anchor. And so you can see those results. So these results were presented to the branding committee, and after some discussion and reviewing those results, they decided to stay with, or to recommend to the board to stay with the squared anchor. Now, in saying that, they only wanted to recommend to keep that squared anchor for central office use, school use on things like letterhead, envelopes, the web page, but they did not want to move forward with using the squared anchor for athletics, clubs, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna let the board kind of chew on that, because it's interesting that the responses to the squared off anchor, out of the 296, 157 respondents said that they extremely disliked the anchor. 27 said they extremely liked the anchor. So a big difference there. 4 stars, 96 respondents said that they extremely liked the 4 stars, and 60 said that they extremely disliked the 4 stars. And it's flipped for the name Danville with the schools as well. 107 respondents out of 296 said they extremely liked it. 35 said they disliked it. So you can see those results. You also have a copy of the comments. There was an open comment box on the survey. So you can see there's a lot of comments, pretty lengthy comments. So you can scroll through and see those comments as well. So that's one piece. The other piece that actually the board would still need to vote on would be the bait bulldog. And so there was a couple of different bulldogs that were proposed. And so after receiving feedback from bait administration, and then I believe that bait administration had gathered feedback from the faculty and staff at bait, this version that you see is kind of a merge between a version that bait was already using and the one that was proposed to the branding committee. So this is a merge of the two different logos that you may have seen, the one they're currently using and the one the branding committee. So the branding committee likes this new logo and would like to move forward with this particular bulldog.
The only sixth grader at home liked it. One of mine.
Yeah, I'm fine with the bulldog. I think there still needs to be some discussion maybe on the anchor as far as it being used. Just my personal opinion, just kind of right off after hearing all the results and stuff, I would just like to see us have one anchor for everything across the board. I'm not sure why we would want to go with one to be used on letterhead and one for sports. It seems a little
It's excessive.
too
Well,
much.
especially
with the results seems so resounding one
Was there a
way.
cost? I mean, has like 10,000 pages been bought, or, you know, is it, or are we printing it as we go, or is it?
So no, at this point, there's not been a cost for using the squared off anchor. We have been using it on letterhead, but that's electronically. We've not had anything printed at the central office. Of course, we have it on the website, and it's on a banner at Hogsett on Main. However, that's just a temporary vinyl, banner, so there's not much cost there. So there's in fact, the only thing that would have had a cost would have been the vinyl banner at Hogsett on Main, which was temporary for a year anyway. So we've not had any cost. The only cost that the district would have incurred was the individual that was hired to work on the different branding. And
Right. I mean, that's just my kind of first initial reaction. I'd love just to see one uniform anchor be used throughout, whether it's athletics or academics or whatever. I think it's a little
I don't think that really solved our problem. I think that kind of is like an easy answer to our problem.
I think just seeing the results of the surveys from so many different groups of people, it seems to be there's more interest in the original anchor. I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah,
Can we
if you-
charge the committee to try and come up with one? Like, or, I mean, I don't want to use.
So yeah, if you can read through the comments and you can kind of see, there were some individuals that said they liked a fresh start with the new anchor. I think the majority of the comments though said they liked a more traditional anchor. The committee themselves were very clear that the squared off anchor was not for athletics. I think most of the coaches, community members, and individuals that are involved with athletics were very, very adamant that they wanted a more rounded traditional anchor for sports.
I just don't know why we need to, but that's just my.
Well, I thought the purpose of the branding was that it would be all one,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
because right now, I mean, I see different things even on social media, that there's different anchors going out all the time. It's not just the one anchor, there's can be a couple different ones. I think the anchor represents to a lot of folks a big part of our tradition. And I'm not so sure about changing that. It's really a good thing to be doing right now. I think that the one with the rope that had for years, anchored in, you know, in tradition. I think it's important. That's me. I'm an old guy. I like that anchor.
Is that the anchor? Is that like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that one right there on the wall.
That's kind of the one that seems to be.
That was developed at about 2001, 2002, in that range.
I believe that if you read, because I read through all of the comments, and I believe that the majority of the comments about the anchor stated they liked the anchor with the rope. I mean, I would have had to have counted each comment specifically, but there were a lot of comments about the anchor with the rope in there. If you had a chance to read through it.
I wonder if there's a way to do, I mean, because people seem to like the 4 stars, and then just took that anchor, did the 4 stars, but that's not my job, but.
Well, and a lot of the comments, they liked the Danville, the way that was laid out with the schools. And I think there was one comment that said they didn't like the name of the schools underneath Danville. But I think a large majority of comments, they did like Danville with the schools underneath. You could substitute out the 2 anchors in the logo and it not change, the logo itself not change, the layout, the lettering, the stars, that sort of thing.
Well, I don't think it's something we're going to be able to decide tonight. So,
I think a little more time and thought into it, I think. It just seems like initial, just based
I
on.
could ask the committee to go back, because it's not really hard. I mean, ask the committee to consider trying to come up with one for the district, so that eventually down the road, we're not in 5 different anchors again.
Yeah, and so one of the things that athletics, I think, talked about is that just to, if you're asking me to take it back to the committee to consider and find one anchor, then, like, for example, football has the anchor over the state. So are you asking them to consider the one anchor? And for example, for football, that particular anchor would be over the state. And for something else, maybe they have an anchor with something existing now. Are you asking to come up with one anchor to where the anchor's replaced, but the other pieces to specific logos could stay the same?
Yeah.
Is that
Right.
the direction you're
I think
asking?
so. I think so.
I think it's going to end up being 4 different anchors. I mean, I thought the point was that we wanted to have one identifiable branding. So, and it's hard for everybody to change, but I know that there are still anchors out there that are really different. And if we're going to go for one, then we need to say that's our mission or the goal.
So I'll take back to the branding committee to try to come up with one anchor across the district, across groups, athletics, central office, website, social media. I'll ask them that. What do you want me to ask them about the squared off anchor and the results of the survey there? Because yeah, I've heard 2 or 3 different things about that.
Well, I think the results of the survey pretty much speak for themselves about the squared off. And I think we need to go with those sentiments. So it still brings us down to getting one for everything.
Okay, I will go back and work with the branding committee.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on, under reports is change order number 1.
So they've really gotten going since last time we got together. As you can see in that video, they've taken down a lot of stuff and they're getting themselves ready to get the shell ready to start putting things back. We will have our 3rd progress meeting on Thursday of this week. So we're moving along with those as well. There's 2 items that Christy and I have reviewed for this change order. Number 1, there was an ash tree that was by the front parking loop that was starting to get in bad shape. So we went ahead, while they were on site, we had to get a price to remove that ash tree. And that's already, that work has been done. And then there's a wall, or item number 2 there. There was a wall that we thought could be an existing wall to remain. But once they started doing the demo, it found out that it was actually an old window wall that somebody just put board up that covered up all the window wall between 2 classrooms. So we thought of that, and it was going to be an inside wall of one of our new restrooms. So we elected to go ahead and take that wall down and put a new block wall up. So that's what the 2 items are that Christy and I reviewed with the contractor. So that's this change order number 1. Questions on that?
I make a motion for the approval of change order number 1 that proposes change to the Marilla design and construction contract that results in increased costs in the amount of $4,394 to the Mary G. Hogsett Primary School addition and renovation project.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. And then on the next part of that direct purchase order number 6.
Yeah. I'm actually going to, I want to pull that from your agenda because I didn't get all the information I needed.
Okay.
So we'll just move that one to another meeting.
Okay.
What the contractors elected to do is take an item from the direct purchase order summary and move it into their construction contract because they couldn't get them in line with the paperwork. So that they're still going to use the same vendor, and that vendor's agreed not to charge the sales tax, which that's the benefit of doing the direct purchase order. So they've agreed to still provide that cost at that minus the tax, and they're going to move that into the Marilla contract. But I didn't have everything from them in time to get it in front of you today, so we'll just change that.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, moving on to the next item is the staffing report.
So there's only one item here. In pre-K, we needed some additional hours for one of the paraprofessionals that's working with those students. Just as they got underway during the year, it's noticed that we needed extra hands when the students were in the playground, just some kind of extra, and in the cafeteria. We're actually only asking to increase one of the positions by 3 hours per week. That would total $3,300 across the entire school year, just to increase that. That will make this position into a full-time position, which will also help them recruit somebody for that position, which is empty currently. So it's not a lot increase, but it will help them recruit someone for that position. And there is money in the pre-K budget for that.
Preschool.
Make a motion for the approval of the September 17th, 2018 staffing report as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Mr. Dean, next item is the finance report, the financial statement.
Okay, you should have a copy of the August 2018 financial statement. Again, the month with a balance of $5,911,617. Total receipts for the month were $1,049,923. Had claims or payables for the month of $835,134. Payroll of $834,615 for total expenditures of $1.669 million. So we ended the month of August with a cash balance of $5,291,790. And you can see the in the middle section there's the bank balance minus the outstanding checks reconciling to the same amount. And then in the middle section is a breakdown by the various funds that we maintain, the balance at the end of August. General fund balance, unassigned balance of $3,494,946, and then we had some assigned funds, sick leave escrow $200,000, and then the assigned maintenance of just under $400,000, and you can see how the rest of the funds are spread across down the list. Also, you can kind of see a comparison of where we are to where we were last year, and you'll note that we're down about $800 and some thousand. General fund balance is about the same, so the big difference is in the assigned funds, where last year at this time we had set aside $1 million for assigned maintenance, and now we're down to, like I said, about $400,000, so we've used that money. The other difference is in the construction fund. You can see a difference there of a little over $500,000. One of the differences right now is we've received the bond sale money, and it's sitting in the construction fund in the investment account. It's not shown on here because it's not in the cash account. We just transfer it to it as we need, and I have yet to make the transfer to cover the existing costs that we have, so that'll bring, for September, that balance will be brought back up a little bit. So you can see all those reconcile. And down at the bottom, I've started, just as we did for the Tolliver construction account, kind of an investment account summary showing the bond balance, the amount that we got, $8,685,462.90. That didn't come in until right at the end of the month, so there's no interest accrued on that as of yet. There will be for the September. Any questions?
I'll make a motion that we approve of the financial report as submitted.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, moving on to the payment of invoices.
You should have a list that was given to you for the working session containing all of the vendor invoice, just to highlight those. The total, as I said earlier, for the month of August was $835,134. A lot of that was for construction fund expenditures. We had Tolliver construction renovation project of $138,000, playground sod and installation for the Tolliver project of $16,526, playground structures and installation of $122,211, and then we also purchased some staff furniture for $5,464. We had an asbestos abatement at the Hogsett School for $51,017. And then some architect fees for the high school roof project that we're proceeding with at $7,476. Also had some debt service expenditures, U.S. Bank $23,025, then some KISTA interest payments totaling $1,897. So back those out of the $835, that leaves us with $469,450 of funds for monthly expenditures, repairs and maintenance, instructional, utilities, food service, and other necessities to operate the school district. Then some individual things I just wanted to point out were listed on that sheet that I gave you. District insurance package renewal during the month of $121,763. Also had purchased the middle school food service merchandiser for $8,153. Did some electrical upgrades to the Swain gym of $4,630. Some painting in the high school gym to get it looking nice, $8,707. Had a site license for scribing readers grant of $9,000, and some other items listed under the digits.
Paul, can I ask you, I know it's dealing with the finance. I sent you an email concerning or you sent us an email concerning the purchase of the Terrace Hotel, the old hotel.
Yes.
To be made into the new fire station.
City of Danville is purchasing that and the Dexter real estate property.
So along with that property comes off the rolls of taxes being paid to the Danville schools, along with library and different ones. So you said that would cost, and in comparative dollars, it's small, but it's still about, what, $8,800?
That'll be $925,000 as it is currently assessed. It will come off of our assessment for next year. And the current tax rate be between $8,800 and $8,900.
You know, I have an issue with distinguishing between a nonprofit, as in a church, not being liable for the taxes. But then when a city entity buys, they're also not liable for the taxes. So any school district, and it makes no difference if it's independent or county, when we experience these kind of things, it adds up.
Anytime Center College,
The
the hospital,
the church.
churches, anything like that, it comes off the assessment and affects us. Of course, mainly those properties are going to be purchased within the city of Danville, not going to purchase out in the counties. It directly affects us.
So I think it's a concern that we all need to be aware of. I am the School Board Association. This is one of their goals, is to work with the General Assembly to see if we can come up with a creative solution, at least maybe a 5-year pay down, something that gives the school districts time to be able to deal with these losses. But I don't think the public is generally aware that any time a nonprofit entity buys, that takes property taxes off the rolls for the school districts.
I also inquired with the PBA the status of the Kroger property. Of course, they've appealed their assessments for the last couple of years, and they're only paying half the assessment until that appeal is heard, and it's still ongoing. Nothing's been done for the last several months that I know of. And basically, that's cut their assessment in half, which probably cost us about $25,000 a year.
And we have no control over that.
No.
All that ruling is done through the state.
That's correct.
So we're getting hit big time. Thank you, Paul.
I make a motion for the approval of the payment of invoices totaling $835,134.02 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Great, and then moving on to the 2018-19 working budget.
Okay, I have given you all a handout. I'm working on that. I've had some file issues, so I've had to go back and recreate a few things, but I did get it done in time to where we could go through it in a handout, and I will have Teresa post it on the KSBA agenda. But as I promised, I didn't want to bring you something, just a munis report that's really hard to understand, so while it's a little bit lengthy, it goes into further detail that I think than what you're used to. It shows how we're budgeting the funds all the way through general fund to all of our other funds. And we'll start by looking at our general fund revenues on page 1. And you can see the various items on there that we have that we've projected for the 18-19 fiscal year from the beginning balance carry forward. That carry forward includes, if you'll see down below, that's our unassigned fund balance of $3.6 million, along with the assigned fund balance of the sick leave escrow that we carry forward and the assigned maintenance of just under $400,000 that we talked about. And then down through there, other items like our general property tax at $6.64 million, our SEEK projected right now that's subject to change. This is just based on the SEEK forecast. We should have our tentative SEEK coming in at the end of September. How much it'll change then, really don't know. We probably won't get a change until the final SEEK when we know what our growth numbers are going to be, which will be coming up towards the end of this month as well. So right now we're projecting $6.83 million for that, and you can see also on there, on behalf payments, I kind of consider that funny money. That's something we never get and we never spend, but we're required to report and budget. That's what the state pays on our behalf for teachers' retirement and also health insurance, some other items that they go ahead and pay for us that we don't have to do, but like I said, we have to record it and recognize it. So total revenues projected of for general fund, $23,871,813. And then if you want to back out the on behalf payments, total revenues of $20,106,759. And so that's what I've done throughout the document, is try to give you a look of the totals and then backing out the on behalf so you can see what we're really dealing with. So then starting on page 2, And I'm not going to go through every one of these line items. You can look at them, and if you ever have any questions, you can let us know. But what I tried to do is go through, these are each of the org codes that we classify things into. Just for instance, you'll look at district-wide, you'll see district instructional related technology. There's attendance services, health services, lots of different categories that we break things up in so that we can put them in the right classification and report them to KDE. And so what I've tried to do is break down salaries and wages that are paid out of those codes, and then the benefits and payroll costs associated with those wages, and then list what some of the other costs that we might incur during the course of the year, where you can get a total. And then each of those is totaled up at the top by the title of the organization code. So, done that basically for lots of different sections. First of all, there's a district-wide, which our total district-wide operating expenses are $8 million. If you'll turn to the end, $8,030,000. Listed in that $8 million are $721,000 in on-behalf payments, so actual net amount is $7,308,000. The next section is our central office, which we break down into school board activities. We have our tax assessment office section. We have the superintendent's office, finance. You can look through there and see the various things and how they break down. What I've done is the same thing with those, give the salaries and wages, and then the benefits and payroll costs, and then others. And I've also broken out the on behalf so that you can actually see what those are located in those totals. So if it looks like one thing is ballooned way up, then you can see, well, a large portion of that is an on behalf payment, which we won't actually get or don't actually spend. So the total for the central office is $1,120,000 minus on behalf payments of $188,264 for a total of $1,308,000. Change. So this is kind of what I've done throughout the entire general fund. The next sections are the individual schools. The first one listed there is the Mary G. Hogsett Primary School. You can see the various items broken down just like we did on the others. Also in there, at the end, I've thrown in the SEEK allocation for each one of them so you can see what their allocation was when we did it at the beginning of the year, and it's money they have to spend at the school level. So total for Hogs, it was $2.7 million minus $936,000 in on behalf payments, or $1,804,000. Next is the John W. Bate Middle School. You see the various org codes that we use for that building. All of them are basically the same. There might be a couple of differences based on if the school has something extra. But like I said, they all basically run the same type of org codes. Like you'll see principal's office for all of them under 1077, and just a different school code. So then we have the Tolliver, and then the high school. I don't think there's anything peculiar in any of these that I'm looking at. If you see something that strikes you, let me know. Then moving on to transportation. Like I said, we have different org codes that we use for transportation based on transportation director or bus drivers, special ed bus drivers or bus monitors. And we have a bus maintenance category. This year we've budgeted for one bus purchase, a total of $120,000 based on what the transportation manager has told me that estimated cost is going to be for the bus. One good thing is I was able to reduce the diesel fuel budget by quite a bit. We had it well in excess of $100,000, but we didn't spend nearly that much, so we were able to reduce the budget on it considerably, which helped. And some of the things we're able to do that, I'll go through, and if it doesn't look like we're needing the high threshold that we established in the prior year, we'll go ahead and reduce that so that we can increase in other areas that we need, mainly instruction. So after transportation, you'll see there are a lot of small codes that are listed on several different pages there. We have a small shop building located behind the high school out here that we have a small budget for. The Swain Gym building, a separate budget for it, so we can account for all of the utilities, maintenance costs that are associated with that particular building. The Admiral Stadium, operations and maintenance, have a separate budget for it. Other athletic complex grounds, one for it. And then we do have a budget for the Gore House. It's been small. One thing that I've tried to do on this one is so that we can make some necessary repairs. Hopefully we can maybe put a new roof on it, is added $25,000 to the building repairs and maintenance for it, so that we can try to get something accomplished. I'll work with Christy on that and see what we can do with that. And then listed behind those are some other items that come out of the general fund that we use. I use a special project for, so that we can account for those items separately. If there's anything from the alternative school to a small budget for Gravely Hall. We also have a small budget that we established last year or the year before last, I can't remember, for the health science class, so that they can purchase necessary items for that particular class. I know we've already purchased that's probably not called a mannequin, but you all are aware of the thing we purchased for them. And so she continues to need items, and so we're trying to help out with things so we can expand the health sciences. We have a summer STEAM camp last year that we budgeted for $35,000, and it came in right at about that, so we've got it budgeted for for this coming summer. Then we also have some additional expenses in addition to our grants for the Sunrise Children's Campus, for our Family Resource Center, our Gifted and Talented. Our Gifted and Talented allocation from the state is only about $19,000, and we've got a full-time certified person in that position, so we have to absorb the rest of the cost in the general fund. Same thing with some preschool expenditures. Since it was cut significantly this past year, we've had to absorb some of the expenditures for that. And finally, there's a technology on behalf that I included, and it backs out to zero when you take out the on behalf. So I know we're going through that kind of quickly. If you'll look at the next page, there is a general fund total, which lists by code and section that we just went through, all of the total expenditures, and then down at the bottom, the on behalf payments are backed out. You'll see that the on behalf expenditures equal the on behalf revenues that were reported on the front page. So total budget, as in the revenue side, $23,871,813. Once you back out the on behalf payments, $20,106,759. $20,106,759 for the general fund. I know that's given the speed version. Have any questions?
Did you do a projected percentage of budget to salary?
I did not have time to do that, but I will prepare one for you. Yeah, that's
Do you have any clue, any idea?
No, not off the top of my head. I'm just going through calculating these, and I didn't put a percentage to it.
I really like the new format, or this format. It's really easy to read and so much
Yeah,
easier
that's what
to hear.
I think it kind of gives you an idea on exactly where our costs are going instead of to a function that's
Right.
reported on the Munis working budget report that we normally go through.
I would like to see it, I mean, not urgent, but it'd be interesting to see maybe the past year, maybe just the general fund totals, like just have that, just to see where we're trending or, which, I think that'd be just interesting.
Yeah. And one thing on the finance report that I gave you, I did not have, what we have been doing in the past is the general fund revenues and expenditures and the year-to-date and that kind of thing. Just kind of wait until we had our working budget done, and so next month that will appear where we can compare it to last year and then by month and by year-to-date.
I really like
So moving on from the general fund, the next one is our Fund 2, and what I've done there for you is list basically all of the projects for the fiscal year 18-19. You'll notice that all of them end in E, which is the code for that particular year, the way that KDE recognizes our Fund 2 projects now as they label them with a letter based on the year. So for 18-19, it is the letter E. So you can look down through there and see I've kind of broken down how most of those are budgeted and what the total amount of the grant is for. Just for instance, 120E extended school service, $66,305, and so you can look down and see how those various grants look. Total Fund 2 for all is $3,064,196, which I think basically that's about what we projected for our tentative budget, right? I think it's about $3 million. Next page is our district activity funds. You can look at how those are broken out by school. I've got the code on there that we use in Munis so that we can access those activity funds. The high schools was $160,818 budget. And you can look down and see the rest of them. Total district activity funds was $258,871. Now those continue to, that's what our working budget will be, but those fluctuate during the year as the schools transfer monies to us each month and then expend those. That gives you a good idea. The next two pages are food service. Same thing, you can look at the various areas, mainly by school or district-wide or summer feeding program for the food service and see what the expenditures are projected for 18-19. Total food service cost $1,741,547. Then on the next page are the revenues associated with that. We had a beginning balance carry forward of $254,080 for food service, which was outstanding. Big increase over the previous year. And so you can see how those revenues are broken down according to the same as the expenditures. $1,741,547. We did project the contingency for the food service at $246,643. Next is our Daycare Fund or Admiral Academy. Total budget for it for 18-19 is $64,492. You can see the various costs and how the revenues break down for that. They had a carry forward of $16,654 entering the year. Anticipating daycare fees, which compile basically all of the revenues except for a little bit of interest. In our capital outlay fund, we've gone through that. It's we're projected to receive $168,839 on our SEEK forecast. We had a beginning balance of $69,249. I'm going to talk about some of that's going to be used here in just a little bit when we get to the high school roof, but that's a separate topic. Building fund, beginning balance on it of $80,502. right now, our local property taxes have to account, which go into that at $959,096, and then the state will match our nickels at $449,020. Construction fund, the only thing I've included right now in the construction fund is the softball facility, basically because that's the only project that we've had established in this current year. All of the others, the Hogsett project, the high school phase 2 roof were all actually started and budgeted in the prior year. So they're not really included in this budget. We're looking at about $657,000 for the softball facility, as we noted earlier. Then the debt service fund, basically that consists of just transfers from the building fund and the general fund, so it's not really in the total budget that we use, basically because it is just transfers. $893,000 from the building fund, $309,918 from the general fund. And then we have the budget on behalf payments there as well. You can see how those particular items break down. And then finally, working budget totals. You can see how the different totals from the other funds, all the funds come together. Your general fund budget, your Fund 2, and those totals all have the on behalf payments listed in them, which if you consider all of that, you're looking at a budget of $31,384,625. When you back out the on behalf payments, our net budget is $27,619,571. Just disregard that last page. That shouldn't have been on there.
You know, one thing I'm particularly pleased with is the amount of dollars that actually are going into instruction. You know, with probably over 80% of our dollars going to salaries and benefits, to be able to take that money and budget as well as you do to put into instruction, I mean, such as the commitment to gifted and talented. There's a lot of districts that they take the $19,000 and that's all they spend. So for us putting on a full-time gifted and talented teacher is a great commitment on our part, and it will make a huge difference as the years go on. So, but there's a lot of things we're doing like that that are kind of unknowns.
Any questions?
Thank you for this all. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is the.
Are you going to approve it?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I guess we better.
Katie, you would like that?
I know, yes,
I
sorry.
make a motion for the approval of the working budget
Motion on
as
there.
submitted.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now it's approved, thank you. All right, moving on to the DHS Phase 1 roofing bid.
Okay.
BG1.
This is the phase 2. We had originally budgeted just under $400,000, it's $399,000, right at $400,000 for construction costs for the phase 2 project. We had a bid opening this week, of which 2 bids were received. When we opened the bids, the first one, like I said, is right at $400,000. The first bid, one of the bids was $579,800 for Tri-State Roofing, and then the second bid for Pierce Blackburn Roofing, who is actually doing phase 1 of the project, the bid is $453,210. So obviously a big discrepancy in the 2 bids, with the low bid easier to consider. But that's about $53,000 more than what we had anticipated for the cost on the original BG1. So by the time you go back and factor in the new bid and the associated increase in the contingency, which is basically 5% of your construction costs, we're looking at an increase of just a little over $56,000 for that phase 2 project. So what I've done is prepared, if you are so inclined, I've prepared a revised BG1 to reconsider those costs. Right now, We're looking at construction costs, I said, of $453,210, a contingency of $22,661, which hopefully we won't use much of that contingency. We can get that back to apply to another project somewhere along the line. The architect did not change his fee. He left it the same, even though there was an increase in the cost. So the cost of the architect's $15,585. So right now we're looking at a total project cost of $491,456. And what we plan to do is, for the additional $56,000, taking $30,000 out of our capital outlay, and then the remaining $26,000 and change will come out of the building fund. So those amounts that we talked about, the carryover from last year, will be reduced somewhat because of the increase in the bid for the project. And I did include a copy of the architect. He sent a letter with a recommendation on the bid if you had a chance to look at it. Just seems like everything is coming in higher than what's anticipated.
Well, it's not going to get any better.
No,
I'd say
I think the longer you wait, the better chance for the prices to escalate.
I'd say we should go on
I was really shocked by the $579,000 bid. I don't know what we'd have done if that was a low bid.
So you need approval of that.
Yes, please.
I make a motion for the approval of the DHS Phase 2 roofing bid, BG1, in the amount of $491,456 as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
And the next item on the agenda is the change order number 45.
That is, that's leftover Tolliver. The last change order that you should see on the top is the front porch where they have put the new columns in. They're gonna have to put some special caulking between the column and the plinth, so it's a 600 change. And it's just that $609.50 for this non-shrink wrapped.
So that hasn't been done yet?
I do not know the answer to that.
And who did the work?
That was for Briggs to do. Yes. I think the attachment shows. I think it's for Briggs. And then the other, yeah, let's do that.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the change order number 45 in the amount of $609.50.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, so the next one is the final direct purchase order summary.
That is simply a listing of, when we do the direct purchase order payment before the project even starts, you get that approved through KDE, and this company, you're gonna pay this much money to for this product. And this is the final payout part for Tolliver, all over, official done. There was about $5,000 left that vendors didn't invoice us for. And they just had till a certain time, and then it becomes our money, $5,600, something like that. So KDE allows you now to just count that purchase order summary at the end and take the rest of that money. You don't have to do change orders for each individual vendor. So that's just a sign off.
Make a motion for the approval of the final direct purchase order summary in the amount of $5,605.46.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. And the next item on the agenda is the performance growth plan.
Yes, I'd like to take just a second. So, as you know, each year I will do a performance growth plan, really letting you know where we're focusing in for the year as a district. And each year you will need to approve that plan, and then that's what you will use to evaluate me, of course, at the end of that year. Also, as a requirement for all new superintendents in the state of Kentucky, I'm focusing on 7 leadership standards. And so at each board meeting, I would like to give you a report out on 1 to 2 of those standards so you can know how I'm doing across the year and be updated with the things that are going on in our district. And so just very quickly, the standards that I will be focusing on throughout the year. Standard 1 is strategic leadership. Standard 2 is instructional leadership. Standard 3 is cultural leadership. Standard 4 is human resource leadership. Standard 5 is managerial leadership. And 6 is collaborative leadership. And 7, influential leadership. So I'll bring 1 or 2 of those to you at each board meeting. You do have before you uploaded the professional growth plan. I focused on 2 of those 7 standards in this plan. I actually put forth 2 goals in Standard 2, instructional leadership. The first one is that Danville Independent Schools will increase student achievement in K-Prep by 2% in all areas. Standard 2 also, Danville Independent Schools will close subgroup gaps by 4% for economically disadvantaged Hispanic, African American, and students with disabilities. And then Standard 4 is under human resource leadership. And in that one, Danville Independent Schools will ensure that it has the largest and strongest pool of qualified applicants for positions for the 2019-2020 school year. And then it gives some more specific goals listed under that. And then there's also a detailed action plan on some of the specifics that I plan to work on to get us to those goals by the end of the school year. I sent this to you at the end of August, so if you have any questions, I would be glad to ask them. I also sent you a 30, 60, 90-day plan as well. I do need you to actually have an action item and approve if you choose the PGP, but not the 30, 60, 90-day plan.
Any questions for Dr. Shelton at this time?
I read through it and I really think it's good. I appreciate all the work on that, and it's helpful to have all that information behind it.
So I move that we approve the professional growth plan for Dr. Tammy Shelton, Superintendent, for the year 2018, 2019.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Shelton. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Make a motion for the approval of all consent items as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Reserved for the public? Anybody? Okay. All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.